Different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake of
technology, but I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Master Connector Show. I'm Rob Genovese, and, we're coming at you every single week here, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you're going to masterconnector.show if you want to see some upcoming shows that are coming up here. Click on that website. Go there. Check out some of the future events. We got some great guests coming to you every single week, and this week is no different. But, just a little background on us. If you're new to the show, you've never heard our story, but Steve and I, we are introverted guys. We are two former shy guys who were painfully shy, who couldn't talk to people, even if our life depended on it. Although I think Steve more so could than me. I literally couldn't form words to come out of my mouth to have a conversation with another human being. It was terrible. I think Steve had an upper hand a little bit, and he's always humble about it. But Steve had an advertising agency. Steve had and has 2 multiple degree black belts in 2 different martial arts disciplines, if I got that right. In other words, he can kill you 45 different ways in a split second, and you wouldn't even see it coming. So you want to make good friends with Steve. But, even giving all that, Steve will tell you, dyslexic, bullied, we were both bullied. When you're introverted, you got to face a lot of crap because people don't get you and you're clueless. And at least I was very clueless. So connecting with people was not something that I was for sure going to be doing, or so I thought. We go back 27 years. And we came together through direct sales, and we had similar mentors who taught us how to. And this blew me away that I could actually do this. Because remember, I was scared to death. I knew you were smarter than me. I knew you were richer than me. I knew you were more successful than me. So he said, I'm going to teach you guys how to talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime. And when I heard that, I knew I was broken. So I said, teach away. And he taught, and we listened. It was a lot of painful years of trying to get through my own crap in order to be able to just talk to people. And today, 27 years later, and, it's not that to this day we suddenly can talk to people, but over time you develop these skills. But here Steve and I are. We are connectors. Steve is the master connector, and we are meeting people all the time, and especially Steve, who meets probably 2 to 3 people every single day that he's never met before, in person, online, wherever. Steve is the master at it. But, we came together on this show after, not being in touch for a little while. And this show afforded us both the opportunity to share what we've learned and then bring on people who share their experiences. Also, we can do what? The pillars of this show. Connect with each other and create community. That's what you need to be doing. In order to achieve anything of greatness, you have to connect with people, and building a community around it is always the best way to do it, because everybody needs support, because especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a solopreneur, man, it is lonely. So I'm not going to delay any further. I want to bring him on, the master connector himself, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Robbie G? Good to see you, sir. It's it's an honor to share the stage with a former shy guy as well. So it's good stuff. But I just appreciate you, sir. But hey, what's going on, friend? Steve Spiro, the master connector, coming at you live and direct. We got a great show ahead of you. So ahead of us. Make sure you get in the comments. Make sure you connect with each other. Good to see Antonio in the house. Yolanda, love seeing you. Yolanda, Jimmy is in the house. Jimmy, new acquaintance here, new friend now. But we're excited. It's gonna be a great show. Make sure you're sharing this. Make sure you're liking this. Make sure you're participating with us, because we are LinkedIn participants, not LinkedIn lurkers, right? So make sure you're in the comments. And again, we don't know if you're here unless you're actually in the comments. We might see a number, but we don't know who that is, right? So we'd love to hear from you. Love to see you. This show is your show. It's not our show. It's our community show. We do it for you. So, but it's gonna be great. I'm excited because I want to share a little bit here. Being unstoppable in pursuing your dream is about embracing determination, resilience, and an unwavering passion. It means facing challenges head on, refusing to succumb to doubt or fear, and relentlessly pursuing what sets your soul on fire, right? Love being fired up. I used to do a series called Fire to Friday, Master Connector Tips, right? Love being on fire. It's about recognizing that that setbacks are merely stepping stones on the path to success and using them as opportunities to learn and grow, right? I heard that, you fell forward, right? You're not losing. You're either winning or you're learning, okay? But being unstoppable means staying committed to your vision, even when the journey gets tough, and trusting your ability to overcome any obstacles that stand in your way. It's believing in yourself. That was a tough one for me. I didn't believe in myself for quite a while. And also believing in your dream, which with such conviction that nothing can deter you from achieving it. When you embody the spirit of being unstoppable, you become a force to be reckoned with, capable of turning your dreams into reality. So if you're ready for my man, my co-host, Robbie G, to introduce our incredible guest, I want you to type in hashtag let's go. And Robbie, I'll turn it to you. Hey, Rob, you're unmuted here, sir.
But now you tell me?
I thought I was unmuted. Sorry.
I love live TV. This is great. Now I get to start
Wow.
over.
I was trying to say it, but I was backstage, and I guess you can't hear me when I'm backstage. Apologies on that. Anyway,
there you go. See, you don't have to be a pro to do this, but let me give it. I'll give it another shot because nobody heard anything.
Please.
If you could read lips, you already got half the introduction. But Kristi Thornton is a highly successful entrepreneur who's known for her role as the CEO of Coup Recruit, as well as being a national public speaker and founder of 26 for Caleb. She's become an inspiration to many thanks to her unwavering determination and persistence in achieving her goals. As a dream chaser, Kristi Thornton believes that anything is possible if you have the drive, passion, and a strong purpose. She's a true testament to this belief as she has overcome numerous obstacles in both her professional and personal life. Apart from her thriving business, Kristi uses her platform to share her story about the tragic loss of her brother in 2018 and to inspire others in overall decision-making, overcoming peer pressure, and to remind young adults of their purpose in life. Her powerful talks have touched the hearts of many and have motivated them to overcome adversity and achieve greatness. Please welcome to the show, Kristi Thornton. Hey, Kristi.
Hi, Rob. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. And I related a lot to what you said, Rob, in the beginning about just being an introvert and having to purposely make those connections and put yourself out there. So I feel like every now and again, I get myself in the same position and I have to keep challenging myself to make those connections.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on the show, Kristi.
Of course.
Absolutely. And it looks like you got a fan. Alexandria is saying,
yeah,
Kristi.
that's my twin sister on there. So I saw her coming on.
Awesome. That's great. Oh, okay. I see the last name in the hyphenation there. We got Frank's in the house. And then unfortunately, sometimes if you're not connected with us, we don't know who the LinkedIn user is. So apologies,
Okay.
but we're welcome having you on here. And it's good to have John Braden. You made it on, John. I know we were having some technical questions going on earlier today, but hey, we want to dig into this. We want to hear from you, Kristi. Excited to have you on the show. So let's start with pursue. So community, type in hashtag pursue. So here's a question, Kristi. What inspired you to pursue your dream, and how did you overcome any initial doubts or obstacles?
Sure. No, great question. So my story is a little interesting. I think I've always known I wanted to be an entrepreneur at a younger age. I didn't really know what that looked like. I fell into recruiting back in 2013 or so, did it for about a decade, and then I was fired. And it's okay. I'm actually kind of glad it happened. It was really that push to get me into entrepreneurship. It was a process that I had to really grieve and go through, but really I got fired, I processed, and then I decided this is the time. If I'm not going to do it now, I'll probably never do it. And so I decided to pursue my dream and go into entrepreneurship and start Coup Recruit. So that's where I am today. I'm 2 years into business almost, and I'm never looking back. So that's it.
Boy, I got to tell you, I relate to that 100%. So, you know, if you heard the beginning, Kristi, this journey that I had when I started out so clueless, I knew one day I wanted to own a business, but I spent 25 years in corporate. By the second layoff, I finally got ticked off and started a company, but I got another job anyway, to create some revenue while I was building this business. Then laid off for the third time. By the way, I was a great performer later on in my career. So maybe the first one was because I was inept, but the later ones, with all these skills you learn, you become very valuable to companies, but economics and politics always played a part.
Sure.
And by that third layoff, I said sayonara. That was July of 2019. And, getting laid off, like that second time, like you said, you grieve it, right?
Yeah.
But it's the best thing that ever happened to me because it pushes you to the thing you really need to be doing.
Right. And it really, for me, when I got fired, don't get me wrong, it was a gut punch. I didn't really get a reason for being fired, which I think was also something that I was a top performer and I loved what I did. I loved the people that I worked with. And so when that happened to me, it really just kind of stopped my world. And it was in 2022. And I sat outside. I wrote down things that I learned, things that I needed to take ownership of, things that I wanted to change. And then when I decided, like I said, to go into business, I decided, okay, what lessons can I take from that part of my life that were positive and bring with me into entrepreneurship? And what are some things that maybe I didn't like and things that I want to make sure I don't bring into my future into entrepreneurship? And when I make my first hires with employees and how I want to lead people. So it was a learning experience all the way around.
Yeah, great. It's good stuff. I'm glad, listen, a lot of people, right? They're at that crossroads where they're thinking about, okay, what are they going to do? Are they going to just go back to the corporate? Are they going to just start their own? And you did it. So way to go. Kudos to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So we want to talk about achieving, right? So community, type in hashtag achieving. So can you share a pivotal moment, and you may have started to already allude to that, right? A pivotal moment or turning point in your journey towards achieving your dream, right? Kind of maybe walk us through that a little bit.
So I'd say achieving my dream in entrepreneurship, one of the things that I found really important when I knew I was going to start entrepreneurship is I really wanted to make sure my mind, body, and spirit were healthy. I knew that if I wanted to be successful in business, that I needed to be successful and feel healthy as an individual in order to make this work. So I put health as my number one priority into achieving this goal of mine. And to continue to achieve this goal of mine, I felt like health was going to be number one. The second thing that I felt was important into achieving this is I needed to get a mentor. Someone who I've connected with, who's been in the recruiting business for 20 plus years. She's someone that I connected with, someone that was telling me the hardships, what she's overcome, things that I might face. And that's really helped me to go to her when I have these kind of challenges. And then really just educating myself, networking, making connections, meeting people, hearing from different sectors. But those are some of the things that I felt were very important into achieving this success and to achieving my dream. And I don't even know if I should use the word achieving as if it's completed already. I'm continually working on achieving this goal every day.
That's purposely, right? So, because we're all, work in progress. And I feel like, it's what I've learned is success is a worthwhile, it's the pursuit of a worthwhile dream or goal. It's not necessarily achieving, but it's the pursuit of, right? And we're always kind of striving towards that. And I love what you said about mentorship and networking, because those two components were completely missing in my life early on, right? Yeah. Rob said it before, it's like, I was clueless, I knew I could work, but there's no guidance. And then there was nobody in my life. I was the, if it's to be, it's up to me guy, right? I did chess, tennis, and karate. All single person sports, right? Now, there was nobody around. There was no team around me. I know that the cliche today, right? There's no I in team, right? But yeah,
Right.
that was me. I was the I guy, So
Yeah. There was, when you asked the question what the pivotal moment was, I think the other thing for me was the belief factor. The first person I reached out to was another kind of mentor, one of my clients actually from years ago. And he had always put it in my mind, hey, you should really start your own. You should really do this. You should try it. Like, bet on yourself for once. And so I said, hey, we should catch up soon. And I sent him a calendar invite with my brand new email address. And he wrote me back and he was just like, I can't believe you finally did it. I'm so proud of you. And he was the first client I signed on as an entrepreneur, first placement I made. But to have someone believe in you, that to me was a huge pivotal moment for me, that I can do this. And I already have one person who believes in me besides myself.
That's great. That's awesome. Rob and I shared a similar mentor, and he said, listen, I'll believe in you till you believe in me, till you eventually believe in yourself.
Right.
And having somebody believe in you is so good, so important, right?
Yep.
I want to just point out here, Yolanda had something really profound. She said, failure often clouds our judgment, making it hard to see the lessons immediately.
That's
so
and
I love
true.
that. So true, Yolanda. And it really sets up the next question that I want to kind of touch on, which is on the topic of setbacks. So community, type in hashtag setbacks. And here's a question, and you can go whatever direction you want with this, Kristi, if you want to bring back the other stuff. But how do you maintain resilience and motivation in the face of setbacks or challenges along the way?
Sure. I think a big example of this, I want to go back to 2017. I was training for my first full marathon. I had been running. I had been a sponsored runner. And Hurricane Harvey hit in 2017 in Houston. I ended up training in a parking lot, pausing my training to help out with rescue efforts and to rebuild the Kingwood area. And then 4 short months later is when my brother unexpectedly passed away in a drunk driving accident. And it was a week before my full marathon. And my parents had asked me to defer my entry for the following year. I'd gotten really sick from, I guess, being in all the debris and the water and everything from Harvey. And it was just one of those moments as an individual and as an athlete, you're asking me to pause another dream of mine of being a full marathon runner. And so for me, that setback, I feel like you have 2 choices. I mean, you can let it destroy your dream or you can find a silver lining. I'm always trying to find, I think that's one of the things that I've learned to love about myself is I'll always try to find the good in a tragic situation. So instead of running my 26.2 miles, I decided to challenge 26 people to do an act of kindness. And that just spread way past 26. And 4 months after my brother passed is when public speaking launched for me at the local high schools who wanted to hear the story of my brother and ways that we could prevent driving under the influence or distracted driving. And so talk about a setback, it was Harvey, my brother. And then 1 year later, I ran the full marathon, and it didn't mean that. I think maybe in the beginning I may have thought, oh, my dream is done for, but no, you can keep going, retrain. And it was hands down one of the best races I've ever done with family, friends, colleagues. And it was a life-changing moment for me.
So maybe we could dive in there for a second, Kristi.
Sure.
I mean, it is such, and I'm sorry for your loss of your brother, and to go through that, I can't imagine. But, you somehow you got through it. You did the marathon, you became a speaker. So I think what people would love to hear, how do you encounter the setbacks and keep moving forward?
I think it's a choice. For me, I have found that the best way to heal is to help. And that for me, I've really learned that lesson during Harvey, watching my whole entire hometown be underwater, my high school gone, houses gone. it literally looked like a war zone. And I remember we were in a driveway, and one of the strangers that we were helping, he said, it's not the impact of the flood that I'm overwhelmed with. It's the impact of the people who are here out of the kindness of their heart. And when you talk about, wanting to keep going regardless of the setbacks, I think that really is just a choice that you make. And I'm a firm believer that my story, your story, Rob, Steve's story, these stories that every person has, someone's going to be able to relate to, and maybe they can keep going because of what you share with them. But at the end of the day, I think it's a choice, and it can make or break you. But I don't think I believe everything happens for a reason. I know that's cliche, but it's true. And I just think there's so many powerful lessons that anyone can learn from to keep going regardless of heartache.
That's a great, thank you for that response. I think that's a great response, to deciding to do it. And although I'm sure it wasn't easy, right, in the face of such emotion, but you did it. And listen, for our audience, today we have Kristi Thornton talk about how to be unstoppable in pursuing your dream. Listen, if you've got questions for Kristi, go ahead and put them in the comments because, she's been through some stuff and she's overcome that stuff and come out a victor on the other side, and is not only just building a company, but she's inspiring people to pursue their dream. She's helping people every step of the way. So put your questions in the comments for Kristi, and we'll see if we can get to them.
Sure.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, just a tremendous stuff. And, we talked about mentors before, and one of them, my mentors told me to read a book called Think and Grow Rich. And in that book is a quote that's probably used a lot, which is, in every adversity, there's a seed of equal or greater benefit. And so everything, I believe that you said everything happens for a reason. It's sort of along those lines, right? But there's something good from that. I think somebody wrote in the comments about silver lining, right? Let's see if I can find it there, right? Good answer. Finding a silver lining. Great job. Right. So it's finding that silver lining. There's something good that's going to come from it, and having the faith and belief that something is going to come from this. Right.
Sure.
But I want to keep the ball going here. Right. So this is interesting. Right. So you're in the midst of crazy life going on. The hurricane, all sorts of tragic loss. And again, like Rob said, sorry for your loss. Our condolences. But how do you stay focused? So hashtag focus. So what strategies or habits have been instrumental for you in keeping you focused on track towards your goals?
Sure. So I'm going to admit it. I was terrible at time blocking. In fact, I hated time blocking. I thought it was just one of those things that businesses try to get their employees to do. But when it came down to entrepreneurship, it was something that I knew I needed to do. So I think for me, I need to master my morning routine. That's one of the strategies or habits that I have in order to stay focused. But it was a hard lesson for me. I'm not going to lie. Procrastination was a big part of my life. I kind of work better under that pressure. But when it comes to refocusing now as an entrepreneur, mixed in with the public speaking, getting that morning routine down, but also I go back to health, making sure that I'm doing things to make sure I'm personally doing okay, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, because ultimately I think if we're okay, our business operates, or if we're doing great, our business operates a bit better. Our employees notice how we interact with them, and I think it just all comes down to our overall personal being and how we can bring that into the business.
Absolutely. It's funny. Time blocking, you mentioned it. There's so many good things, right? The morning routine, right? I mean, for a long time, I was I woke up and did whatever I wanted to do, and then started incorporating a routine, and that's been a game changer.
Yep.
Today, I live and die by my calendar. It's what it is, right? If it's not on the calendar, it's not getting done. And there's a lot of great nuggets that you have there in terms of being able to keep yourself staying focused. Because again, I heard left unchecked, we could be very unfocused, where we can become a wandering generality if we're not just, we're not keeping ourselves in check.
Yeah. And I think one of the things too, I've really had to learn, because I'm a yes person. My friends invite me out to lunch, I'm saying yes. Somebody wants to have coffee and do networking, I'm saying yes. I've had to learn how to say, I can't right now. I'm really focusing on my work. So learning to say no has been, or no, I can't right now, but let's get something scheduled. That for me it's been a difficult lesson to learn, but the more and more I do it, the easier it's becoming.
I'll throw one thing on that, because I know there's the folks in our community might be kind of along the lines of, don't like to say no and yes people, right?
Yeah.
I have a tendency to not like to offend people.
Right.
Although there's parts of me that does it too sometimes. But anyway, so what I've learned, again, we have a mentor. I was on a Zoom call with him yesterday, but he's got incredible people skills. And what I learned is you could say this, say, hey, I would love to. Let me check my schedule. Or I would love to, but tomorrow won't work for me, but let's come up with a time. Just start with, I would love to. Just soften.
That way they don't feel rejection.
Right. Yeah.
Or that you really don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you actually don't have to say no, right?
It's
knowing how to say no without saying no.
Right.
Oh, we got a question here, Rob. You want to help with this?
Yeah. So thank you, Alexandria. I think you may know Kristi.
I think I know her. Yeah, we might be roommates at one point.
So what are some daily habits or personal habits you have to help you feel your best and be successful? Great question.
No, yeah, great question, sis. So one of the things for me is I have to get my outside time. I find that extremely important. I have to get outside. I have to get my walk in. When I don't get that done, my energy is just depleted. So making sure I get my walk in. And then I think either Rob or Steve, one of you guys mentioned it, being a solopreneur, it can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. And I think for me, making it a point to connect with someone, whether over the phone or a neighbor, that to me is very important in order to just build that focus and build that habit, a personal habit, in order for me to feel successful. I think it just kind of helps the juices in my brain and it just kind of makes me feel good. Outside of that, another daily habit outside of that, I don't know. I've gotten into reading lately. I did the 75 hard challenge. So it's 10 pages of a motivational book. I just read a John C. Maxwell book. So I think reading too, just being a constant seeker of knowledge or learning, that to me it's actually been pretty pivotal in my relationships and in business.
Love that. Well, we're gonna close up here, and we're getting right at the end of the show. So last minute advice. So type in #advice, and as you close down, any advice for the community as you kind of maybe final words, because we definitely are getting right at the bottom of the hour here.
I think the biggest advice I can give you is if you're interested in entrepreneurship, if fear is the only thing holding you back, that's not a big enough excuse. And take the leap, bet on yourself, and believe in yourself more than someone else does. You'll find people, if it's meant to be, it will. And sometimes you just got to keep working at it. There are times where you're so close and you might give up right before the big change happens. So just keep pursuing your dreams, keep going, and I'll be rooting for you along the way.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristi. So tell our audiences as we close out here, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Sure. Yeah. You guys can reach me via email, phone number, text, doesn't matter to me, but kurecruit.com has all my contact information. And then for 26 for Caleb, it's just super easy, 26forcaleb.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So connect with people, everybody connect with Kristi, because, we just had a short time with her here, but she's got a whole lot more to teach and to show us. So I appreciate you coming on the show, Kristi.
Yeah, we do appreciate you. Absolutely. Well,
thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
We're going to put you in the green room there.
Sure.
Yep. So Robbie G.
So listen, we talk about overcoming, and, just love and wish we had more time with Kristi to talk about the overcoming and pursuing that dream. Everybody's got a dream, and I never let go of mine. So many years, right, later, when Steve and I met, we were two guys and we didn't know each other before we knew each other, right? We came together through that common business and had that dream and never let it go. And that was, to me, was about 30 years ago. And that's saying a lot. So you never let go of it. But listen, if you got some overcoming to do, don't worry about it. You just got to learn from people who've done it. And, Steve here has done it. In fact, he's written a book about it. It's called The Tao of the Master Connector. You're going to want to pick up this book. Steve wrote what he's learned over the years to help you become a master connector. And, he is a master at it. And I think the big lesson, the big takeaway is the fact that he was so not a connector. And now he's all about connecting. And that's the best person you want to learn from. So I'm going to put the link in the chat to pick up Steve's book while Steve closes this out here.
I appreciate that. That's very humbling that you say that. I appreciate it. Well, we're just very thankful of you, community. Thankful, Kristi. So next week we're going to be on. I will be flying solo, so I need as much support as possible. I won't have my man Robbie G on here. But episode 155 next week, Wednesday the 27th, For the Love of Being You with Cordelia Gaffer. It's going to be amazing. And listen, if you're interested in hosting an episode, go to masterconnector.show and you can learn more about that. And some of the up and coming episodes, if for some reason next week you're not able to make, you'll be able to see and register for the up and coming shows. But I want to just close with this. And listen, we'll look forward to seeing you next week for sure. And as we leave you to have that amazing week, I'm going to tell you a quick story. In a world veiled in darkness, there lived a solitary candle. Despite its small flame, it refused to be dimmed by the shadows. With unwavering resolve, it ignited hope. It ignited hope in those around it, teaching that even the faintest light can dispel the darkest nights. Through its radiance, it inspired others to ignite their own flames, illuminating the path to a brighter tomorrow. For in the midst of darkness, it's not the size of the light that matters, but the courage to shine brightly against all odds. Remember, folks, let's be the light.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.